care about a whole bunch of things. Life's been lifing, huh? Listen, I told you I was gonna make one of these political. Every now and again, I'm gonna make something political. And with the things that I've been seeing, I would be remiss. So listen, because by now I feel like I'm probably being monitored. Some of the things that I see from my commentary online tell me that such. And so, let's do this. Let's start this way. So it was a civil rights icon being interviewed by Katie Couric. I don't think it was an interview. I think it was more of a discussion and, him basically saying what he wanted to say. So there's that. So we'll start off with there. Now, one of the things that he said that was really important is that if you don't speak up during this moment in time, you're not apathetic, you're not uninterested. He said you were dishonorable. Now, how you speak up and how you choose to speak and where you speak, those choices are all yours. I can't make them for you. But me, I got to get some things off. I would love for you, a few of you, to hang around and listen to what I have to say, because you don't have to worry about what you would have done in a moment of time during civil rights or during slavery. You're in your own moment of time right now. Just as important as Reconstruction, the Civil War, civil rights movement, slavery, rebellion, you're in your own moment. So let's talk about this civil rights icon, a couple of things that he said. So he changed my mind about who the enemy of the state was, in particular. So, and I just have to shortcut it for you. So that, all people are created equal with all these unalienable rights. And that's how I believe the Constitution, or maybe the independence of Declaration of Independence was written, right? Either one, I don't really care, right? But the whole ideal was that everybody's created equal, except for those people, because they're savages. Because how else can you reconcile everybody's created equal and then do things to other people like slavery, reservations, putting people on reservations, then wanting their land, shrinking their reservations, killing them? It doesn't seem like to jive up. So what this civil rights icon said is that they had to create this narrative that they're savages, that they're not deserving of these rights and liberties. And that narrative has been around since then. And so that particular narrative is really the enemy of the state. It's baked into the culture. That's why you can have Charlie Kirk say something like, I hope this individual is qualified because they lowered the standards. They didn't lower the standards. You just can't compete. You weren't good enough. And other people weren't good enough. So there's the problem there, but it's baked into the society. It's taught, and nobody's saying that consciously except for people like Charlie Kirk. But it is an unconscious thing to think that you are not deserving, that you're not equal of these rights, and that if you have them, you're taking it away from somebody else. So that civil rights icon said that. But that narrative is the enemy of the state. Is Donald Trump the enemy of the state? Yes, but Donald Trump is a victim of that narrative and then a perpetrator of that narrative. He propagates it, he says it, he perpetrates that narrative, if that's the right word, perpetrate. He uses it to his political advantage, that narrative. Him, Charlie Kirk, Stephen Miller, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that narrative is really what needs to be killed, that all these other groups of people aren't equal or deserving of these things. So there's that part. But now when you see things like go on in Chicago, and if I'm radical, it's the right that radicalized me. And it seems like they want the Civil War. I've said that before. Pete Hegseth getting in front of the generals making this stupid statement. Sounds like things that I said. No rules of engagement. You know, when you're in certain positions, it's things you can't say and things you can't say. But okay. Because if they want the Civil War, I say let's give it to them. And then I left a comment recently. I wish Chicago people would fight. And when I say fight, I mean with bullets. I left that commentary. But when I use words like wish, I don't think they're going to do it. Because if I said wish, want, and will, if you don't know my ideology on it, you wish for something, you don't think you're going to get it, so you make no steps to get it. You want something, you will make some steps to get it. And if the opportunity is available, you will get it or you will do it. And will is a declaration. This is something that I'm going to do. If Chicago fights back, I will go join Chicago in fighting. That's not a wish. I don't think Chicago will do it. I wish they would do it, but I don't think they're going to do it. But if they did do it, I will go join them and fight. My thing is just say no. Nancy Reagan said just say no. She was talking about drugs, but I'm talking about all this shit that's going on now. Just say no. You don't. They cannot take over if you do not let them. If you just say no. You know, they had some kind of rapid response thing going on in Rochester, New York, where ICE came to a house to arrest some people. And like a text went out and I guess 100 people showed up. And while they still walked away with 3 people, there were people left behind. You know, they could do that in Chicago. They got people rappelling from helicopters and all kinds of agents coming in. And you know what? Can you send out a text and have 1,000 people show up? Just saying, no, this is not a thing you're doing. And this is not about illegal, making sure that illegal immigrants can stay here. You know, there's a process and a thing and a way in which you should do things when you're in a certain position. And this is America. And there's a thing called the Constitution that you took an oath to uphold and defend. So uphold the Constitution, Donald Trump, and all your goddamn sycophants, uphold and defend the Constitution. All you Republican senators and congressmen, do what the fuck you were elected to do in the oath that you took. And that's my biggest problem. There's things that you can do, but there's a process in which ways you can do them. But they don't want to do them that way. And if they want the Civil War, I say, lottie-dottie, everybody, nobody leaves the country. I'm with you, Pete Hegseth. Me and you agree. Me and you agree. Rules of engagement? No. No rules of engagement other than 2, lottie-dottie, everybody. Nobody gets to leave the country. You don't get to leave your kids behind the gate, protected. Everybody's at risk. And I say, listen, there's 100 million people here at least willing to fight. I think the moderates will fight. I think they will. If you put the U.S. military, I'm talking more than the National Guard, if you start putting the U.S. military in cities, because it's not about, oh, it's just those people over there. It's America. This is the United States of America, and there's a lot of things that we have done in this world. And there's a lot of things that can be wrong with this country. But this is a thing that we're not going to do. America, I just need you to say no. You could say it at the polling office, comes to midterms, you know, they can descend upon a building and 10,000 people can flood the block. Just say no. I'm not telling you to go pick up a gun and shoot nobody. That may be an option for me. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not going to advocate for you to do it. I'm just willing to fight. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready for this to be over. I'm ready for the nonsense and the stupidity. I'm ready for it to be over. I'm tired. I'm tired. And I've been listening to Stacey Abrams and Strict Scrutiny and Reese Waters, who, by the way, I agree with you, Mr. Waters, that they're trying to bait Black America so they can have a reason to do the things that they want to do. But I think if they do them, Mr. Waters, I don't think they'll just be fighting Black America. I think at some point in time, white America will be like, hey, man, this is not a thing you can do. You know, we're just going to show up. You just can't do this. They cannot take over the country if you do not let them. If you do not let them, they cannot do this thing. Just don't let them. Just say no. He can write all the executive orders that he wants. Just tell these motherfuckers no. $1 is only worth $1 because we all agree on it. But if we don't agree on $1, it's a worthless piece of paper. Just tell them no, this is not a thing we're doing. You don't get to run this country however the fuck you feel like just because you feel like. There's rules, there's laws, in the party of law and order. They're not even changing the laws, they're just not paying attention to the laws. They're not even following the spirit of the law. There's a thing called the spirit of the law. This law was written, this is what they were trying to do with it. That was the problem with that guy in Wisconsin. When the judge said that somebody else brought him the rifle and he could do this and that. No, the spirit of the law was about hunting, not about being in a riot. Now, I don't give a fuck if they attacked him. He shouldn't have had the rifle in the first goddamn place. He shouldn't even been there, but whatever the fuck, man. Because I'm talking about going to Chicago. If Chicago decides they want to fight. So what do I know? I don't think I'm that radical. I just think I'm tired. And that's pretty much all I had to say. Stacey Abrams said, you know, she's got Stacey Abrams, she's got a video up on how to fight Trump, and it's interesting. None of it's violent. It's all about politics and voting and towing the line. The Democrats are just bitches. And if you listen to that video with Stacey Abrams, How to Stop Trump, there's a lot of harsh criticisms of the Democratic Party that are well-deserved. They're well-deserved. But they can't run just on, we're not Trump. They got to give you some policy, and then they got to get behind it and do it. But I digress. America, I implore you, I'm speaking up because I will not leave this planet an unhonorable man. Just say no. Just say no. This is not a thing we're going to do. I'm not going to live in an America like this. I'm not. So just say no. Okay, I'm done here with that. No, I didn't see the video about Judge. You know what, dude? I don't listen really. I mean, like I'm being a talking head right here. And maybe Reese Waters is something of a talking head. You can find him on YouTube. It's entertaining, but it's informative. But people like God. How come I can see his face? The Daily Show. I can't. Jon Stewart. I'm not listening to any really crazy people. Jon Stewart is interviewing really smart people that are tied in. The same thing with Stacey Abrams and the ladies of strict scrutiny. They're all lawyers and they all have a point of view and they can be a little snarky, but you listen to the facts of what they're saying. And then they interview people who've written books. Like I didn't know Jon Stewart interviewed somebody who wrote a book. I didn't know it took 20 years to write the United States Constitution. It took 20 years to get that done. I was like, really? 'Cause nobody knows. She said a lot of lawyers don't know a lot of things about the Constitution. They say a couple of things and then they just move on. Which is, man, what is that thing that Katie Couric said about culture? Some things are just embedded in the culture. Like, I'll give you an example. America is generally a Christian nation, generally. I mean, you can find Buddhists and Muslims and, but generally, we're a Christian nation. I bet you can ask most people why they believe in God and they'll give you something that they were taught because they really don't know. But what they were indoctrinated, they were taught. And they didn't bother to question it. And so there's those people, but the people that did question it, maybe some of them are atheists, they don't believe. There's another term, atheist is one of them, but there's another one, I don't know what it is. But I think even if they got in a real tight jam and maybe their life was on the line, they might throw up a little prayer to God because that's just what you've been taught. It's in the culture, it's baked in, it's a part of your core identity. And when you're attacking people's core identity and belief system, man, they will defend it to the hilt. And remember, part of people's core identity and belief system in America is that you are not deserving. You don't deserve it. Oh, and the civil rights icon said something about DEI. And he said corporations instituted DEI wrong. He said they instituted, but they didn't give any explanations as to why they were doing what they were doing. And so, to paraphrase what he said was that in the past, we've passed on certain people, be it man or woman, some kind of minority in favor of, say, the white majority, even though the minority may have been more qualified. And now what we're doing is we're correcting that. And we're hiring people that are qualified. That doesn't mean that we're necessarily passing up on the white person, but we're going to include these people where we excluded them before. But these things are our decisions, and the fact that, Trump said he would do this to this corporation or anybody who has a DEI program trying to reinstate white people as the default option, as if other people aren't qualified, which is really crazy to me because I read there was a lawsuit. The Asian community, when I'm oversimplifying, Asian community was suing Harvard for their admissions practices. I think Asians were being admitted at like 18%. But if it was merit only, just merit only, they would get in at like 43, 44% and not 18%. So, I find it funny that the man who talks about merit only, if Harvard did merit only, white people would probably only get in at like 26%, black people about 5%, and then, foreign nationals and whatever other categories that they got. And I did read something that said back in 1925, or right around there, Harvard changed their admissions policy to consider other things than just merit based on your scores and academics, because Jews were getting in at like 25% and it was too high. They did this back in 1925, so that's 100 years ago. But I want you to see how long this has been around, that the Jews weren't deserving. They're getting in at too high of a rate. They weren't deserving. They shouldn't be in here like that. So it's never really been merit based. Merit based it's strictly merit based is a lie. Tim Tebow, everybody that I know that's really into sports said he shouldn't have been a quarterback in the NFL. And then after 1 or 2 seasons, when he really just showed how bad he was, had he been anybody else, he would have been out. But he was Christian, he had this faith, he was white. This is what my friends are saying. And so they tried to keep him around, but he just wasn't any good at his job, and then he wouldn't accept any other position in quarterback. And then, he had to go. Because the NFL is merit based. Either you're good enough or you're not. And then there's the other thing with with Elon Musk saying that we needed H-1B visas, and this is not the first time that I heard it, because not that there aren't any Americans capable, but we don't really focus on science, technology, engineering, and math as a culture, where maybe China does, or maybe India does, or maybe some other country does. They focus on that as a part of their culture, and we do not. So you kind of need those people. And so when they got rid of people at the CDC, some of those people went back to their countries. So there goes the brain drain. Stupid people are in charge, bigots are in charge, children are in charge, and America just needs to say no. Okay, I am absolutely done with that. Dude is really batshit crazy. Well, I noticed that when you, in lieu of saying anything kind of useful, a real criticism, you get derogatory remarks. So I was having a conversation online with somebody about Charlie Kirk. And I just told him we're not going to deflect the argument. We don't do straw arguments. I actually had to delete the whole thing eventually. And I noticed he sent me something saying, would you rather have a person with 30% less scores who scored 30% less. And I was like, well, whether the person gets an A or a C, they're still qualified. That's what I had said. And and he comes back with, you want an A or a C, but his initial argument that these people weren't qualified. So now that they're qualified, so now he wants to change the argument. And we can't change the arguments. And so I say, I'm just shutting it down. He says, well, that's a typical liberal, this and that and the other. And that's when I knew he was disingenuous about his argument, because he's not trying to seek the truth to get to the truth of a matter. He's just trying to prove his point. And I really rarely try to prove my point. I'm trying to get to the truth of everything. If you can prove me wrong, then I'll accept it. A implies B, B implies C, A therefore C, where A is a premise, B is a premise, and C is a conclusion based off those premises. If a premise is false, then the conclusion based on those premises is false. And oh, by the way, when you look up certain topics, and I think I looked up crime, single parent homes being a major source of crime, the first 5 things that came up, like the Heritage Institute or this or that or the other, I would ask AI, what is the Heritage Institute? Oh, it's a conservative think tank. Oh, this is a conservative think tank. Oh, this is the first 5 things that come up. And I'm only looking for academic studies because you don't know if they skewed the data or what things that they left out. So single parenthood can be an indicator of more criminal behavior. But what's behind that? Not necessarily just the single parent, but the economic instability. Oh, so more of an indicator than a single parent is the economic instability. Nobody wants to mention that. Not in the conservative think tanks. I got that from an academic paper. And I'm just saying, people are disingenuous with the arguments. Check your sources. They're not really going any deeper. They're just trying to prove their point. And they're using conservative think tanks, and they're getting their information from that. People with an ideological point of view versus an academic paper which says this is what we found, this is what we found, this is what we found, this is what we found. So is that part of it as well? Okay. I don't know why they did it in Rochester, New York. They had some kind of rapid response thing. I saw it in the news. I don't know why Rochester, New York. That's the thing that community decided to do, or some people in that community decided to do. I have no idea. It may. The paper, economic stability creates a precedent for higher crime and social dysfunction in the household. And I don't know about the social dysfunction, but they seem to say that economic instability was an indicator, and then that maybe single parents, maybe particularly single mothers, may be more economically unstable, and then you have to deal with the other part of the lack, maybe the mother's lack of education or not enough education, or can't get enough education, or you have to deal with other people not thinking that she's worthy, so she doesn't get the promotion and she just gets stuck in place. And there's so many factors to this one great big generalization that I always say, the solution to a problem, or, is not this or that, it's this, that, and the other. And the problem is not this or that, it's this, that, and the other. Especially when you're talking about complex societies. So, you know, and I don't expect anyone to have all the answers, but we need to be truthful in our dialogue if we want to actually get to the truth. Let's get to the truth and not try to push our point of view. What's the truth? Okay. Not necessarily. I would seriously doubt if Kennifer stop lying on Rochester, New York. That's not true. I saw it in the news story. It wasn't Syracuse, New York. So just because you didn't know about it or you didn't experience or you didn't see it or you're not a part of whatever network it is, I don't know. But why would I get on here and lie for something that you can actually just check on? Why? I mean, I'm not qualified to run for president. Donald Trump wasn't qualified to run for president. But you have, in order for the system to work, you have to have people with integrity. And Donald Trump has low or no integrity. So he's not qualified to run that office. You don't have to be a career politician, but he has no political experience other than the 4 years that he had as president. And then you've seen what he's done with the information that he's learned from his first presidency during his second presidency. It doesn't look like it's working out for the people. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't agree with any of these things that's going on. And I really have to say something about it. Because for me not to say something about it, I would be what? Dishonorable. And I will not leave this planet dishonorable. I don't like autocross. I tried autocross. I don't like it. All right, so let me go down here and look at these comments. I live in Atlanta, so I don't know what to tell you. You shouldn't write me in for president. I'm not qualified. But it is true, sir. Just because it's on the news doesn't mean it's true, but it is true. Because the video associated with it, the ICE officers walking off, the people saying what they done and how they did it and what exists. I mean, Fox News National, at least national, Fox News National is not a news station. They're just a bunch of pundits. And then there's some company that owns a bunch of television stations across the country. And it was either The Daily Show or some other legitimate, could have been The Daily Show, or some other legitimate source that, and the company's conservative. And so they have a point of view. And so there was something that they were talking about. Let's say, cats are green. I can't remember what they were saying. But they showed news stations from around the country saying the exact same thing. Cats were green. Pretty much verbatim at those local news stations. Pushing out that cats were green or whatever the hell it is that they wanted those people to say. So, however, this is the case with Rochester, New York. I remember it in particular. I wouldn't say it was Rochester if it wasn't. Because it would be Rochester. If it wasn't Rochester, it would be Syracuse. But I don't think it was Syracuse. I remember Rochester. Okay. Mr. Jones, Sinclair. There you go, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones. And listen, I'm not crazy liberal either. I remember one person that was talking to. She has no charisma. Why I keep losing her name? Ah, God, the woman who ran for governor in Georgia, Stacey Abrams. She was talking to some guy who was talking about some kind of a party that's in Philadelphia, some kind of third party. Um, and then this other woman was talking about something. But anyway, a lot of people don't know, unless you've been in the South, that a lot of black people in the South are socially conservative. They're really conservative. Trust me. If they were born and raised in the South, a lot of them are more conservative than you think. Um, but pretty much they all vote Democratic. So why do they vote all Democratic? Because the other side said basically that they'll kill you, that they'll destroy you. And even though they're socially conservative, they vote Democratic because they believe the other side will destroy them and kill them. I mean, this is kind of what they said. I don't know if you should take that literally. But we understand that the Republican Party is not good for us. So, and she was saying how she wished more people would be, or he said more people would be more savvy like black voters in the South to understand that I may hold these points of view, but that party or the things that they're saying aren't good for me. Which, by the way, they also said, and when she said it, I already knew it to be true, that the Republican Party generally doesn't know how to govern. They, it's almost like if you say go left, they say go right. If you say sunny days are good days, they say no, it's cloudy. And so when they're not in power, they're just the opposition. Which is why, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's strategy, although Joe Biden won, strategy running against Trump is that Trump is bad and no good. They didn't come with any policy. Kamala didn't have any policy. And then nobody believed that, what do you stand for? That's kind of why she lost. Even though what she's saying that Trump would do, Trump is actually doing, but you didn't have any policies and you didn't stand for anything. And so you lost. Because whatever the Republican Party is, they stand for something. I just don't, they don't know how to govern. But they stand for something and they just beat it like a drum. No matter how crazy it is, how much of it really has nothing to do with anything. And even if the policy doesn't work and it's not in your favor, while they're standing there saying we the people. So, I don't know. I don't like the Republican Party. I'm not going to say I don't like conservative people, but I do not like the Republican Party. And then there's another thing. If you say you're not a bigot, but you constantly vote for bigots, how am I to believe that you're not a bigot? So, there's that thing too. Trump is not as simple as 90s Democrat. No, man, I listen. Y'all be, you know what? Miles Davis used to play with his back to the audience. Darren talks with his eyes closed because I don't like looking at myself in this phone. Um, uh, Rick from the Metro Mall, he's a school teacher somewhere. Somewhere. somebody enlightened me to that. I looked it up and it was true. Oh, you think I'm a sellout? What makes you think that I'm a sellout? What are my points of view? Listen, I'm not a politician. I generally think if you're an illegal immigrant, you probably shouldn't be in the country. We do compete with illegal immigrants, not for all jobs, but for some jobs. I don't care if you're Mexican, Ukrainian, Australian, Canadian, um, whether you came from Haiti or Cuba or some Arabic country, or some African country, some European country. It don't make no difference. There's lots of people over here, and I'm in the transportation industry. I'm driving trucks, and if they get their CDL, and there's been people getting their CDLs that never took a test, that shouldn't have their CDLs because they're not really qualified or they didn't qualify the right way. They paid for that CDL license and they buy their own truck and they drive the rates down because they'll do cheap freight and yeah, and I don't want to compete with them if I don't have to compete with them. So that's one thing. I don't really care about transgenders in sports. I mean, that's not even a thing. But generally, if a man shouldn't be competing with women, and women couldn't compete with men. Casey told me about some transgender boxer boxing a female boxer, and I think this female boxer was supposed to be pretty tough. I don't really know. I'm just relaying a story. Um, she got hit once or twice, maybe 3 times, and she told the ref to stop the fight because she said she had never been hit that hard in her life. So, yeah, there are some differences between men and women, and that shouldn't happen. I don't think you need to create a transgender bathroom. There's Kroger's got a unisex bathroom. Myers got a unisex bathroom. All kinds of rest areas got unisex bathrooms. I mean, come on. I mean, you could create a unisex bathroom, or you can have one. I mean, generally people act like they got some sense, but then some people don't. So I don't know. Um, well, some businesses will, it's an extra expense for you. Okay, it's an extra expense. I get it. You don't want to spend the money. I don't want to spend the money. I mean, I understand. Spend the money. I don't know what else to tell you. You know, nobody wanted to wear seatbelts if you're old enough. And man, the pushback when the government mandated that you had to wear seatbelts. Jesus Christ, the pushback on that. Now everybody gets in the car. Nobody thinks twice about putting on their seatbelt. It's a thing that you do, right? So, in the late 80s, early 90s, when some cars had those automatic seatbelts because nobody would wear them. Well, the government really didn't think it was a good ideal. I mean, it was the insurance companies pushing for it because they got tired of those payouts from people getting injured. But it's a good ideal. I mean, the insurance companies just wanted to save some money. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a politician, man. I'm not saying that I got all the answers. But there's a way to do things and there's a way not to do things. There's laws in place and do them lawfully if you're in power. If you're talking about we're the law and order party, and do things lawfully or get out the way. And really, I don't know why the U.S. government doesn't get rid of Trump anyway in this sycophants, because the U.S. government, they got the power. If they wanted to move that man out the way, they could just move that man out the way. America should just say no. What man killed three folks? Here in Vegas on local sportscast one morning. Um, I didn't support Diddy during the trial. I just said, wait till he's guilty, and then I'm listening to Judge Mathis on Vlad, and he got, I think, 2.5 years on each count, served consecutively, so he's got 5 years or 4 years and 2 months, whatever it is. Um, yeah, yeah, 4 years and 2 months. I don't know if he gets any time served, or he got 5 years. I don't know. I can't remember what it is. 50 months. It was 50 months. So 4 years and 2 months. Uh, if he gets time served, you know, he might get out when he's 58. If not, probably when he's 59. I got no, you can call him a lot of things, but, we all celebrate the wrong things. You worried about Diddy and the things about what Diddy did. You worry about people's sexual activities and all of that. You know what's really important? Things that affect your everyday life. Like this thing right here. Cell phone. Who made the touchscreen? Can you tell me who invented the touchscreen? You use it every day. How about this display on the touchscreen? Can you tell me who invented that? What about the battery technology? Who made that? Who designed and made the things that shrunk this computerized radio down to this size? Who did that? Who invented GPS? I know the U.S. government funded it, but who actually invented GPS? We celebrate the wrong things. We pay attention to the wrong things. So if you're talking about like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and why China or maybe India is that have more people that are capable, not that our people aren't capable, is because they focus on it and we don't. I can't speak about, the white community because I don't really know. But who cares if Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan or LeBron, I don't care who's the greatest basketball player. I mean, it's nice to be entertained. You want to be entertained. They're athletic entertainers. This is much more important to your life than any of those three people that I named. I don't know how old some of you are, but I got a 32-inch TV in front of me that's about this thin. I remember to get a TV like that, it weighed a couple 100 pounds. It's this thin. I could pick it up with 2 fingers. Right? Who invented direct injection for your engine? How come turbos are better than they've ever been? How about today's moderate sticky tires like the Continental Super Sport 02s, if that's what they're called, or the Michelin Pilot Sports PS5s? How come they're racing tires from 20 years ago? It's and who invented that? Who made that? The things that we think are important, I don't understand at all. And you can't compete. And you're worried about immigrants coming in and taking your jobs. You couldn't compete for them anyway. You weren't good enough. It's like me trying to jump on the basketball court, trying to take on Michael Jordan. I ain't nowhere near good enough. Hey, name a scrub in the NBA. I'm still not good enough. Hey, let's take a scrub in Division I. I'm still not good enough. You worried about people taking your jobs and you're not good enough to get them anyway. You can't compete. You worried about people lowering, having lower skills and lower than the average and just barely passing or barely qualified. Well, you still qualified, but there's people out there more qualified. And you think they're taking your jobs. They're not taking your jobs. You weren't good enough anyway. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, yeah, I can drive a truck. You can drive a truck. Or I'm a courier and I can drive my van or I can drive my car. But trust me, there's things I've done as a courier that you wouldn't do. And then everybody that's looked at the inside of my van pretty much say, God damn. Because my van is well appointed and well appointed because I spent the money so that I can pretty much do anything. Then you can't compete. Because I spent the money so that you can't compete. But I digress. I digress. I don't know. I mean, you're right, Stringer Bell. I don't have a job. I'm not an employee anywhere. I do have a contract, though. And, well, I don't even have that. I'm self-employed. I just I work with somebody, at least until the end of the month. And then I'm off to do something else, figure out something else. So, right, you're right, Stringer Bell. Everybody wants to be a boss. Can't everybody be a boss? Like, listen, it takes so much to be a boss. It takes so much just to even be self-employed. And sometimes you're self-employed, you're just self-employed on paper. You still got somebody telling you what to do. What did I tell Terry once? I like, dude, you so broke, maybe you should get somebody to tell you what to do. I mean, really. I mean, sometimes it's just enough to get up and go to work, right? Everybody's not a boss. I'm not a boss. I'm just self-employed. And I'm probably looking to become an employee for a while. Because the ups and downs of being self-employed and the way this money is flowing, man, Trump took over the whole world. Just Jesus Christ. I was $15,000 down in the first 6 months. And have I recovered? No. $15,000 down by the end of this freaking year. I can't afford to be $30,000 down. I can't do it. Maybe it's only 20, 25, or maybe it's only 20. Who knows? I haven't checked the numbers like uh this at least 20. And this October, and it's at least 20, if not more. It's probably more. Uh, I can't afford to be self-employed. Other people aren't paying. And if they're not paying, I might as well go get a job someplace. I'm not going to like it. Somebody's going to be telling me what to do, when to get there, how to do it. I'm not going to like it. Sometimes life works the way you want it to, sometimes it don't. I don't know. It's hard to go to work. People just like doing nothing. Do you think that's a cultural thing? Do you think that's a cultural thing? Everybody's talking about you should work hard, you should work hard. And I remember some financial advisor to the rich saying, the rich are always telling you to work hard, but they're always trying to find ways not to work. Maybe you need to work hard and make the sacrifices that you need to make so that you can do something else. So you're poor. You may not be impoverished, but you're poor. You could be poor making $100,000 a year, believe it or not. But you're poor. The only thing that you have to barter is time, your time, and your labor. Well, rich people say, with your time and your labor, you buy assets, and the assets will buy the things that you need to buy. Well, but you're poor, so you can only you can only give so much, or you're only willing to give so much because you want to enjoy life. And so you have to make a decision on what you want to sacrifice and how much you want to sacrifice. I can tell you right now, I'll be 58 very soon. You don't run out of time, but you run out of energy. I got that from the internet, and it's true. You don't feel like getting up is doing as much. It's enough just to go to work and do what you need to do and bring your ass home and sit your ass down. If you're that kind of person, some people aren't. Some people hustle all their life and they're just busy running around, moving fast. I don't know if they're accomplishing anything or not. That's up to them to decide. But most people I see about my age, they go to work, they do whatever they do before they get home, and when they get home, fuck the rest of this shit. I ain't going out. I'm done with this. Until I got to get up and go to work again. So you don't run out of time, but you do run out of energy. But you don't enjoy life no less. You're not as capable. You can't, go out for a 3-mile run. I'm sure there's 58-year-olds that can, but not most of them, not in America anyway. You're not running 3 miles. You're not jogging. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. That don't mean you don't enjoy that sports car. You don't enjoy this or you don't enjoy that. You just don't do as much. Hell, right now I don't even eat as much as I used to. I've noticed over the last year or so. I used to be able to go to Jet's Pizza and eat 8 slices. You can give me a 4-corner Jet's Pizza and I'm just struggling to eat that, and I could not be eating all day. Life changes. People need to tell you that. In your 20s, you got some time. In your 30s, you got less. And as far as I'm concerned, in your 40s, you got none. So, 40 is the new 20 or 30 or whatever the fuck bullshit they was talking about way back when. No, it's not. It's the same old 40. So I don't know what the fuck you talking about. It's a lie. Stop lying to yourself, making yourself feel good. Oh, by the way, America's a zero-sum culture. And, winner takes all. Everybody else kicks rocks. That's kind of how our culture moves. That's why we don't like participation trophies. The fuck is that? What's that got to do with life? It's got nothing to do with life. Not in America anyway. Zero sum. I get the job, you don't. I win, you lose. I run the football from one end to the other. I win, you lose. I develop the touch screen, or I make this kind of fan, or I do this kind of thing. I win, you lose. I start this business so I can get rich, not for you to get rich, and not even for me to pay you well, if I don't have to pay you well. Because I want a Porsche, a Ferrari, and a Bugatti. I don't care if all you can do is drive a Ford or you can't drive anything at all. You got to catch the bus. Should have done something else. That's a part of that zero-sum mentality of America. But, some people complain about somebody else taking their job. But, bitch, you can't compete. Zero sum. They win, you lose. And now you want to change the rules. And call us and make us other. Oh, that's DEI. Because what? That narrative 400 years ago. Those people are not deserving. They're not deserving because I can't compete. You see the real enemy of the state? Is that narrative that other people aren't deserving? They're not deserving of these rights, these liberties, these privileges. They're not deserving. They're less than, they're savages. That narrative that was born hundreds of years ago, still embedded in our culture. And that's the enemy of the state. And the enemy from within is Donald Trump, his sycophants in the Republican Party and the conservative wing of the Supreme Court. I'm not changing my mind on any of that. Okay. Now, we done with that. You want to talk about the Metro Mall? Anybody got any questions? I doubt it. Some of you might, but I doubt it. I don't know, Rob. I go back to the beginning. Where do I learn all of what? I keep giving you like my sources. I'm not saying things without giving you the sources. So I say listen to the ladies of Strict Scrutiny. They're on YouTube. They got a podcast. They're all law professors, right? Listen to them. Reese Waters. He's a talking head, but he seems to be pretty well informed. He's kind of entertaining. He likes to point out the hypocrisies a lot. John Stewart, who, you want to challenge his thought process? Good luck on that. The man is smart and he interviews smart people. Strict Scrutiny, they're smart, they interview smart people. Stacey Abrams, she's a politician. She's not a dumb one. And she interviews smart people, people who've done academic research. Not everybody's a talking fucking head. And they're all pretty moderate in the way they operate. I don't listen to any crazy people. In fact, they would probably call me crazy. I would disagree, but maybe so many millions aren't wrong. I don't know. What happened to that girl I tased? Well, I think at one point in time that they said Chiquita Stevens had like breast cancer. So I don't know if she's still alive. She could be dead. I don't know. How do you know she died at Six Flags? Because, I could look it up. Stuff like that is easy to find because stuff like that will be reported on. So I don't know why you'd say shit like that. No, you look it up. You're the ones interested. I'm not really interested. I don't look up anybody from downtown, not even Kennifer anymore. I don't look up anybody. What made me get into security in the first place? I just needed a job, man. I just needed some money. And then my general personality is to do things as well as I can. That's just how I operate. I don't know what happened to Travis Crumity. Hey, no, Pistol, I never check up on the Metro Mall. It's of no interest to me at all whatsoever. I hate I don't care about the Metro Mall. I don't talk to anybody from down there. And Rick's a teacher. Oh, you saw him downtown the other day? It's not goddamn, it's got. Gotdamn. Got damn McFarland. Mississippi got damn, not God. GOT. I don't know. I'm not looking for a vast audience on the internet. I don't really care. I'm not a YouTuber per se. I mean, I've made videos. I can put up some more shorts eventually sometime when I feel like it. Um, but no, I'm not looking to be a large YouTuber. Otherwise, I would constantly put things up and put things out, and I don't. What's the best Halloween candy? I like Reese's Sticks. In fact, I no longer eat Kit Kats because of Reese's Sticks. So, which is some reason it's not like a Reese's cup, which is, odd. I don't know why you worried about the money. Why is everybody worried about the money? Worry about your own money. That's all I can tell you. I will tell you that I don't get as much money as I used to. But other than that, stop worrying about the money. Money takes care of itself. I wasn't good at what I did at the Metro Mall because I was worried about the money. I didn't make any money this time around for like it's fallen off significantly. But I didn't make that kind of money as a courier because I was worried if I didn't make any money, then I wasn't going to do it. But I just did a good job. And admittedly, I'm not doing as good of a job as I was, but then the money's not there, and so I'm less motivated. And then I'm older. I'm a lot older. There's a big difference between, say, 54 and 58. And there's a big difference between 50 and 54 and 44 and 46, trust me. A couple of years ago, somebody contacted me to hand out some flyers. And I tried to walk around like I used to, and I was just like, man, this is not happening. Then he had me trying to deliver to specific addresses, and then the shit wasn't in order, and you had to and I walked around for a day, and he really didn't pay me. And I really don't care, because I'm like, I'm done with this shit here. I just got too old to do it. So it was last year, not this year. So it was 2024. So, nah, man. Nah. No, I don't think there is a big difference between 30 and 35. I could do things at 35 that I could do at 30. An old courier could be a good gig, period, if you just, if you can get the right money out of it. Trust me. You can make $400 a day. You can make $300 a day, which is what I always shot for. $300 a day. If I can make $300 a day, I'm good. Anything less than that, I'm probably not good. Because then you start to live off the maintenance of your vehicle. 2024, too much of the maintenance off my vehicle. 2025, just nothing but the maintenance off my vehicle. Because there ain't really no money for nothing else. I can't even do the maintenance on the vehicle. So it's time to bail. It's time to bail. I was just waiting for the right time. Right times now. So. Delivering medical supplies. Depends on how much you get a mile. There's a company that offered me medical supply delivery, but I thought they were kind of shaky. And they were going to pay me $1,300 a week, but then they had about $50 or $60 a week in kickbacks. It didn't make any sense to me. But then I looked up the company, then I kept getting calls from different lines and different numbers, and then there's an app that you could sign up through, and I knew that app. But then they wanted me to send my resume do another app. And then, you know, you're calling me from New York City in the caller ID, your company name's not coming up. Something else is coming up. Like, what is this? Nah, man, there's too many flags on the play, and if there's too many flags on the play, you should probably just say no. So I said no. I didn't trust it. Have you compared 40 to 45? Well, I can tell you at about 44, I started to lose language. I could feel me not being able to recall those words that maybe 5 or 10 years earlier would have just rolled off my tongue. I was losing language. I could tell. And then by then, I think, I don't know when, I got that fused ankle when I was 40. So I lost my ability to run. So yeah, I could tell like the difference. Yeah, I could tell the difference in my body. But not between 30 and 35. No, I couldn't tell the difference at all. Do I ever think about streaming? Streaming what? Streaming me driving down the road? And then I can't, you know, some things I deliver, there's no way in the world I could let you know where I'm at. No one would tolerate that. No, you can't know where I'm at. I know people want me to do reaction videos and commentary videos. That's somebody else's job. I can answer questions here. Or people leave a comment and I can answer questions there. You know, what am I going to say about those situations? And then, you know, who I was then and who I am now, slightly different people. I'm more concerned about this moment than I am what happened in 2012, 13, and 14. I consider that to be a bunch of nonsense, but I can also see people with limited perspective, limited education, products of their environment. Yeah, I could look back and see I could see the faults in me. Like, oh, I maybe should have made a slightly different decision. Or maybe I should have slightly said something else, although I probably would not have, even now, knowing who I am. But I can see the faults. I'm still not the de-escalation master. I know. I'm ready for the Civil War. You want to fight? Let's fight. I was like that when I'm 44. I'm like that when I'm 58. I was like that when I was 30. It's probably not the wisest of actions. But I'm not Martin Luther King. Yeah, Pistol. 2012, you was 12. It's a long time ago. How did I get the contracts? Listen, that was a job. At the Metro Mall, I started off as a job. It was just a job. Security company was based in Detroit. I had just came from Detroit. It was crazy. Security company was based in Detroit. I got a call. Somebody said I should apply for this job. I applied for that job. Right, I got the job. The police were giving me a pushback about things I could and could not do, said I couldn't do if I was the manager, unless I was the manager. the management company of the mall hired me directly as an on-site manager, and that's it. So I wasn't security even then. And so I can't get contracts as security because I'm not a security company. That doesn't mean I don't do things that may not be security related. Like I can deliver something that under no circumstances will I let you take it. That's kind of the edict of it. The edict's the right word. No one can take this. No one can have access to it at all whatsoever. So if you try to take it from me, yeah, you'll probably be shot and killed. Am I still out there threatening motherfuckers? I don't really threaten anybody. How did I end up doing security for Dollar Tree? I mean, the company assigned me there. That's all. I think I told them I needed more time because I think initially they had me doing apartment security only. And I needed more time, so I think they got rid of somebody at the Dollar Tree, so they put me at the Dollar Tree. So I was doing apartment security and Dollar Tree security. And then they took me from, God, I know it was in the same plaza with the Foreman Mills. And then they moved me further over on the east side of Detroit. I would have to look at a map and then I'd be able to tell what streets. Why would you purchase your police badge from eBay? And does it say police? And why would you want to do something for free that you can get paid for? Or are you trying to use it to do things that you shouldn't be using it for? Which could give you more problems. You did apartment security, it was the easiest job ever. I guess it depends on where you do it at, sir. I can tell you that. And maybe everything is nothing until there's something, and then that something can really be something. It just depends on where you're at. There was somebody working security that got shot at that I replaced because he didn't want to go back. And then they put me on another property because old boy had got robbed and they took his gun. So I guess is where you do it at. And I've been on properties where I've almost had to shoot people. So again, I guess is where you do it at. And then I guess it's all dependent upon you. Because if you tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. I was told once at one apartment that to not let people on the property in cars that did not, just, basically just check everybody. If they couldn't, badge in. And people thought I was playing and didn't realize that I would stand on it. And this apartment on Cleveland Avenue in Metro Atlanta. And I had cars backed up on Cleveland Avenue because I wasn't letting them in. And I didn't care what they were saying. And what they were doing, turn it around. Or don't turn it around and sit here, but you ain't getting in here like that. So it's a job. You took the job, just do the job. Or I'm not going to start a security company like you think. I do like I do. I do secure deliveries. I mean, it's security in a way, but in other ways it's not. I deliver stuff that matter and stuff that don't matter. And when I deliver stuff that matter, I guess I'm doing security. It's a type of security job. I don't know. Start a fundraiser for what? No, you can't see my guns. Why do you need to see my guns? What time is it? Anybody got anything of any importance to say? They said there was a lot of blood when Charlie Kirk got shot. I don't know. I didn't see the video. I'm not even looking for the video. I'm not going to go MARTA PD, and believe it or not, MARTA PD is one of the hardest forces in Metro Atlanta to actually get on. You have a much easier time becoming an Atlanta police officer than you would a MARTA police officer. People say that for a lot of agencies around there, and that's according to those who've applied and been there. All right. So y'all good, I'm good. I've said what I needed to say. The next time I do this and you want to come back, I mean, really have some questions of some importance. I impersonate police with my eBay badge. Well, don't get caught. That's what I'm gonna tell you. Don't get caught. It's not worth the felony on your record. What are you doing? How much money are you making from it? Why is it worth it to you? Seems crazy to me. I would never pretend to be something that I'm not, especially the police. Steve, what's going on? All right, I'm done here. I'll see you later. I'm gonna get some sleep. I got something to do tomorrow. All right, see you later.